How did humans, thousands of years ago, build monuments so immense, so mathematically precise, and so enduring that even today, modern engineers stand in awe of them? How did a civilization without steel tools, without cranes, without wheels during the earliest pyramid era, manage to create structures that have survived earthquakes, storms, invasions, and the passing of more than 4,500 years? This is the question that has puzzled scholars, scientists, and explorers for centuries, and it leads us straight to the heart of one of humanity's greatest achievements, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Rising 146 meters into the desert sky, constructed from over 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, the Great Pyramid is far more than just an ancient tomb. It is an engineering marvel whose precision rivals modern technology. Its sides are aligned almost perfectly to the true north. Its base is nearly level to within a few centimeters. Even the joints between some stones are so thin that a piece of paper can barely slide between them. This wasn't guesswork, this wasn't luck, this was mastery. And yet, we still don't fully understand how they did it. In today's world, where we have machines capable of lifting hundreds of tons, computer-guided measurements, and advanced construction tools, if we attempted to recreate the Great Pyramid exactly as it was built, many engineers agree it would be one of the most challenging construction projects ever attempted. That alone should make us pause. So, what secrets did the ancient Egyptians know? What techniques have been lost to time? What did they understand about physics, mathematics, and organization that made the impossible possible? In this video, we're going to dive deep into the facts, the engineering, the logistics, the myths, and the newest discoveries using cutting-edge scans and archaeological research that is still revealing hidden chambers and unexplained voids inside these colossal structures. And by the end, you might look at the pyramids and ancient civilization itself in a completely different way, because the real mystery of the pyramids isn't just how they were built, but how a world so ancient could be so incredibly advanced. And what we uncover today might challenge everything you thought you knew about history. Let's begin. Historical background of the pyramids. To understand the mystery of how the pyramids were built, we first have to understand who built them and why. Our journey begins more than 4,500 years ago, during Egypt's Old Kingdom, a period often called the Age of the Pyramids. Between 2600 and 2500 BCE, the Nile River Valley was home to a civilization that had already mastered agriculture, architecture, mathematics, and organizational systems on a scale the world had never seen. At the center of this world stood the pharaoh, not just a king, but a divine figure believed to be the living embodiment of Horus, destined to become one with the gods after death. And that belief shaped everything. The Egyptians didn't build pyramids simply as tombs. They built them as monuments to eternity, designed to safeguard the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife. Their construction wasn't just political, it was spiritual, symbolic, and deeply sacred. Every stone placed, every chamber carved, every angle measured, held meaning. This is why the Giza Plateau was chosen. High ground, close to the capital of Memphis, overlooking the life-giving Nile, this sacred landscape became home to the most extraordinary architectural complex in human history. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, the largest and most precise. The Pyramid of Khafra, slightly smaller but elevated on higher ground, giving it an imposing silhouette. The Pyramid of Menkaure, the smallest yet built with exquisite granite casing. Standing side by side, these pyramids were not placed randomly. Their layout corresponds closely with the stars of Orion's belt, tied to the god Osiris, symbolizing rebirth. Their sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions north, south, east, and west with an accuracy so incredible that even modern compasses struggle to match it. Now consider the scale. The Great Pyramid originally stood 146.6 meters tall and spread across an area of more than 13 acres. It was constructed from an estimated 2.3 million blocks, ranging from modest limestone pieces to colossal granite slabs hauled from nearly 900 kilometers away in Aswan. The average block weighs 2.5 tons, roughly the weight of an SUV, yet some internal stones reach 50 to 80 tons. And here's the mind-blowing part. The Great Pyramid was the tallest man-made structure on Earth for over 3,800 years. No skyscraper, no cathedral, no monument surpassed its height until the 14th century. Think about that. For nearly 4 millennia, this ancient masterpiece built without iron tools, without advanced machinery, remained unmatched by any civilization. Its base is level to within a few centimeters. Its sides differ in length by less than the thickness of your thumb. Its geometry encodes mathematical relationships still debated today. All of this begs the big question: how did a civilization so ancient achieve such perfection? Because the more we learn about ancient Egypt, the more astonishing their achievements become. Ancient Egyptian technology. If the scale and precision of the pyramids seem astonishing, the tools available to ancient Egyptians make their achievement even more unbelievable. Because contrary to popular imagination, they didn't have steel, they didn't have wheels during the early pyramid era, and they certainly didn't have giant stone-cutting machines or futuristic devices. What they did have were simple tools: copper chisels, stone hammers, wooden mallets, ropes made from plant fibers, and wooden sledges. Primitive, yes. But in the hands of skilled Egyptian craftsmen, these tools became instruments of extraordinary engineering. Copper chisels dulled quickly on hard stone, so workers constantly sharpened them using sandstone blocks. For larger cuts, they used dolerite, an extremely hard volcanic rock, to pound and shape massive blocks. Imagine teams of workers striking the same boulder rhythmically, hour after hour, day after day, slowly carving it into a perfect rectangular block. It wasn't fast, but it was precise. Their ingenuity lay not in what they had, but in how they used it. To build a pyramid, the Egyptians needed not just craftsmanship, but also enormous quantities of stone. Most of the fine limestone casing blocks came from Tura, located just across the Nile. But the massive granite beams used inside the Great Pyramid, some weighing up to 80 tons, were quarried in Aswan, over 900 kilometers away. Transporting these stones wasn't a simple matter of drag and drop. It required planning on a national scale. One of the most compelling theories is the use of wooden sledges, dragged across the sand by teams of workers. But here's where Egyptian innovation shines. A wall relief discovered in the tomb of Jehutihotep depicts workers pouring water on the sand in front of the sledge. Modern experiments have proven that wetting sand can reduce friction by up to 50%, making it far easier to move heavy objects. This simple insight, backed by modern physics, shows just how intelligent their engineering solutions were. And transporting those stones wasn't the only logistical challenge. Organizing the workforce was just as remarkable. For centuries, people imagined swarms of slaves building the pyramids under brutal conditions, thanks largely to Hollywood and old myths. But modern archaeology paints a completely different picture. The workers were skilled laborers, not slaves. Excavations near the pyramids uncovered workers' villages filled with evidence of housing, beds, bakeries, breweries, medical facilities, and even beef and fish bones, foods far too expensive for slave populations. These were well-fed, well-cared for teams working in shifts, organized like a massive national project. Every block placed in the pyramid was handled by people who took pride in their craft. Did you know? Workers consumed around 4,000 calories a day, supported by an industrial-scale food production system. Archaeologists found remains of large bakeries capable of producing thousands of loaves and vats for brewing beer, which was safer to drink than water and provided essential nutrients. The pyramid site had its own economy, its own infrastructure, and its own social structure. This wasn't a chaotic construction site. It was a remarkably organized machine of human effort, engineering skill, and precise coordination. The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids by magic or mystery. They built them by maximizing every tool, every resource, and every person in a brilliantly orchestrated system. And yet, even with all this knowledge, we still face the biggest question of all. How exactly did they lift and position millions of stones with such flawless accuracy? To explore that, we need to examine the theories that attempt to explain the engineering behind the construction. Engineering and construction theories. By now, we understand who built the pyramids and the tools they used, but the most enduring mystery still remains. How did the ancient Egyptians actually move, lift, and position millions of massive stones with such superhuman precision? This question has inspired countless theories across centuries, from practical engineering explanations to ideas that seem almost unbelievable. And while no single theory answers every piece of the puzzle, each one opens a new window into the creativity and intelligence of the people who lived along the Nile more than 4 millennia ago. One of the oldest and most widely accepted ideas is that the Egyptians used ramps. The simplest version is the straight ramp theory, a massive earthen road stretching from the desert floor to the top of the rising pyramid. It's easy to imagine teams of workers hauling giant blocks up this straight incline, but there's a catch. To reach the Great Pyramid's original height of 146 meters without making the ramp too steep, that ramp would have needed to be more than a mile long. Building and maintaining such a monumental ramp would have required more material than the pyramid itself, and even more puzzling, archaeologists have never found any remains of such a colossal structure. So, while the straight ramp seems plausible at first glance, it quickly collapses under its own weight. This leads to the next idea: zigzagging ramps that switch directions along the pyramid's face, almost like a hiking trail up a mountain. Shorter ramps mean less material, and the turns reduce the steepness. But these ramps come with their own problem. They block large portions of the pyramid's surface during construction. How would workers carve precise edges and place the smooth white limestone casing stones if giant ramps were covering the sides? Then there's the spiral ramp theory, where a single ramp wraps around the pyramid like a corkscrew. It solves the length issue, and workers could theoretically walk upward along the spiral path. But imagine trying to maintain the razor-sharp edges of the pyramid while standing on a slanted, curving ramp. The precision of the Great Pyramid's geometry, straight edges within millimeters, makes this extremely difficult. So while ramp theories each explain part of the process, none of them perfectly solve the entire mystery. This is where one of the most fascinating modern ideas enters the picture: the internal ramp theory, proposed by French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin. Instead of building massive external ramps, Houdin suggested that the Egyptians may have constructed an internal spiral ramp inside the pyramid. According to this theory, workers dragged stones up a series of enclosed corridors hidden within the structure itself. Over time, as each level rose, so did the internal path. This idea gained surprising support when modern scanning techniques, thermal imaging, and muon detection revealed mysterious voids and cavities inside the pyramid that align with the proposed internal ramp pattern. If this theory is correct, the Great Pyramid isn't just a solid mountain of stone. It's a masterpiece of internal engineering designed with tunnels that doubled as construction pathways. It also elegantly solves several key issues. No gigantic external ramp needed, perfect access to all sides for precision work, and far shorter routes for lifting stones. Beyond ramps, some researchers focus on water. Egypt was a civilization shaped entirely by the Nile, and there is evidence that canals once snaked close to the Giza plateau. These waterways might have allowed workers to float heavy stones right to the construction area, dramatically reducing land transport. Some more radical theories even propose flotation chambers or water locks to help raise stones upward using buoyancy. While these ideas remain controversial and lack strong archaeological evidence, they illustrate how deeply connected the Egyptians were to water and how researchers continue exploring every possible angle of ancient engineering. Even the famous depiction of workers pouring water on sand in front of a sledge offers practical insight. Modern physics experiments show that wet sand reduces friction by up to half, making it far easier to drag heavy loads. This wasn't a symbolic detail, it was brilliant engineering. But lifting and transporting the stones is only part of the mystery. Aligning the pyramid with such astonishing accuracy is another. The Great Pyramid's sides face true north with an error so tiny, just 0.067 degrees, that many modern buildings don't come close. Without compasses or satellites, the Egyptians likely relied on astronomy. Surveyors observed the slow rotation of the circumpolar stars, marking their movements over long nights until they established a perfect north-south line. With sighting rods, plumb bobs, and water levels, they transferred these alignments to the ground with exceptional precision. It's a testament to their patience, observation skills, and understanding of nature. Of course, not every theory is universally accepted. Experimental archaeology, where researchers attempt to recreate ancient techniques, has shown that many methods once dismissed as impossible are actually viable with enough manpower and organization. Dragging multi-ton blocks, shaping stones with copper tools, and lifting them with simple mechanical advantage have all been demonstrated on smaller scales. What modern experiments truly reveal is that the Egyptians didn't need magic or lost technology. They needed coordination, planning, and generations of accumulated expertise. The most likely truth is that the pyramids were built using a combination of methods refined and adapted as construction progressed. Ramps for lower levels, internal pathways for higher ones, water-assisted transport, and astronomical alignment all working together. And yet, even with everything we've learned, the Great Pyramid still holds secrets. Hidden chambers, unexplained voids, and unanswered questions keep the mystery alive. And those mysteries take us directly into the next layer of fascination, the puzzles that still defy full explanation. Mysteries and puzzles. Even after centuries of study, after archaeologists have mapped, measured, climbed, scanned, and explored every inch of the pyramids, some questions still remain stubbornly unanswered. And these lingering mysteries are what make the pyramids feel almost otherworldly, because no matter how much evidence we gather, there's always a piece of the puzzle missing, always something that refuses to fit neatly into what we think we know. One of the biggest mysteries is pure physics. How did the ancient Egyptians move and position stones weighing 40, 50, even 80 tons without cranes, pulleys, wheels, or metal machinery? Imagine standing in the blazing desert sun, staring at a granite block taller than a person and heavier than a railroad car. Now, imagine trying to lift it more than 20 or 30 meters into the air, while keeping it perfectly aligned with its neighboring stones. Even today, using advanced cranes would require extreme precision and safety precautions. So how did workers over 4,000 years ago do it with nothing but manpower, ropes, sledges, and determination? The fact that we still debate this question shows just how advanced their methods must have been. Another puzzle lies in the pyramid's astonishing accuracy. The Great Pyramid's sides are almost perfectly straight, deviating by mere millimeters over lengths of more than 200 meters. Its corners form angles so precise that modern laser equipment has trouble detecting flaws. And the base, it's nearly perfectly level across an area the size of 8 football fields. How did they achieve this with primitive tools, copper chisels, wooden levels, and sighting rods? How did they measure distances with such consistency? How did they square corners so flawlessly? The Egyptians clearly possessed a deep understanding of geometry long before math textbooks ever existed. Which brings us to the mathematical mysteries hidden within the pyramid's proportions. Some researchers argue that its dimensions encode relationships strikingly similar to pi 3.116 and the golden ratio 1.618. Whether this was intentional or a coincidence is still hotly debated, but the ratios are undeniably there, embedded in the slope of the sides, the perimeter of the base, and even the internal chambers. Did the builders truly understand these mathematical constants, or did they simply use practical proportions that happen to align with deeper truths of geometry? Either answer is equally fascinating. And while the outside of the pyramid is impressive, the inside may hold even more surprises. For years, archaeologists believed we had discovered nearly all of its major chambers, until the Scan Pyramids project changed everything. Using muon tomography, a scanning method similar to X-rays but using cosmic particles, scientists detected previously unknown voids deep within the structure. Some are large enough to rival the Grand Gallery itself. Are these hidden chambers, construction gaps, lost architectural features, or something else entirely? No one knows yet. And because entering them would require drilling into the pyramid, researchers are understandably cautious about the mystery remains sealed behind ancient stone. Then there's the question of alignment. Why is the pyramid oriented so precisely toward the true north? And why do the 3 Giza pyramids seem to mirror the stars of Orion's belt? Whether this alignment was intentional or symbolic, it demonstrates an astonishing level of astronomical knowledge. The ancient Egyptians weren't just builders, they were sky watchers, philosophers, and mathematicians. They saw the heavens as a map of the divine, and they built their monuments to reflect it. So we're left with questions that echo across time. How could a civilization so ancient achieve feats that still leave us scratching our heads? How did they move colossal stones with nothing but simple tools? How did they achieve precision that rivals modern machines? And what secrets still lie hidden within untouched chambers of solid stone? The more we uncover, the more the pyramids remind us that the past was far more brilliant and far more mysterious than we ever imagined. Myths and misconceptions. Whenever the pyramids are discussed, one thing becomes clear very quickly. Facts travel slowly, but myths spread like wildfire. And for a monument as massive and mysterious as the Great Pyramid, myths were practically guaranteed to grow. So, in this section, let's wipe the dust off some of the most persistent misconceptions, because the truth, surprisingly, is often far more fascinating than the fiction. Let's start with the oldest myth of all, that the pyramids were built by slaves. This idea became popular because of ancient Greek stories and, later, Hollywood. But archaeology tells a very different story. Excavations at Giza uncovered workers' villages, complete with bakeries, breweries, medical clinics, and barracks. Many tombs belonging to the workers themselves have been found near the pyramids, something no ancient Egyptian would have granted to slaves. These workers were skilled laborers, rotating teams of proud craftsmen who were well-fed and well-respected. They even left behind playful graffiti, calling themselves names like the Friends of Khufu, not exactly the tone of a suffering slave army. So yes, the pyramids were built by hard-working Egyptians, not by chains and whips. Then comes the crowd favorite: aliens built the pyramids. And look, let's be honest, this theory has entertainment value. It would make history class infinitely cooler if extraterrestrials landed in glowing ships and taught ancient Egyptians how to cut stone. But there's absolutely no evidence for it. Zero. The Egyptians documented nearly everything: their kings, their gods, their wars, their laundry lists, but somehow forgot to mention the part where advanced beings from another planet supervised construction. Unlikely. The truth is that giving aliens the credit takes away from the very real, very human brilliance of the ancient world. And they deserve that credit. Closely related is the idea of lost super-advanced technology, as if ancient Egyptians secretly held machines or knowledge we can't imagine. While it's true that they were astonishingly clever with what they had, there's no sign of laser cutters, anti-gravity devices, or machinery hidden beneath the sands. What they did have was generations of experience, precise planning, and an unbelievable amount of human coordination. Their lost technology was simply mastery of engineering, mathematics, and organization, things they developed slowly over centuries. In the end, archaeology gives us a clear picture. The pyramids were built by a civilization at the height of its power, using techniques that were advanced for their time and incredibly effective. But yes, there are still mysteries, gaps, questions we can't fully answer yet. And that's what keeps the story exciting. The truth doesn't need aliens or hidden machines to be impressive. The real story is one of human ambition, skill, and imagination on a scale the world had never seen before. So next time someone says, "There's no way the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids," you can smile and say, "Actually, they absolutely did. And the real story is way more impressive than the myths." Recent discoveries and modern research. After 4,500 years, the pyramids still hold many of their secrets. Indeed, several of the most thrilling findings have emerged just within the past 10 years, demonstrating that the Great Pyramid is more than an ancient structure. It represents a dynamic field of scientific exploration. Contemporary scientists investigate it similarly to how astronomers analyze far-off galaxies or doctors explore the human brain, employing advanced technology that can look into areas unseen by humanity since the stones were initially placed. A highly innovative project is the Scan Pyramids mission, initiated in 2015 by an international group of scientists. Rather than penetrating the pyramid or pushing their way in, these scientists employed a technique known as muon detection, a method akin to performing an X-ray of a mountain with cosmic particles. Muons fall from the sky and move through rock at varying speeds based on the density. By monitoring these unseen particles, researchers developed a comprehensive internal blueprint of the Great Pyramid without disturbing any stones. What they discovered amazed everyone. Previously unrecognized voids, some so vast that they could compete with established chambers, such as the Grand Gallery. These are not small fissures or mishaps. They are intentional areas, thoughtfully designed, and their function stays entirely unknown. Are there concealed chambers? Paths for construction, structural designs that are not yet comprehended? Even now, nobody can state with certainty. In addition to these scans, archaeologists are employing drones and 3D modeling to record the pyramid complex with extraordinary precision. Drones are capable of accessing locations that are perilous or unreachable for people, collecting high-resolution photographs of eroded stones, historical mortar, and uncharted fissures. In conjunction with photogrammetry and laser scanning, We now possess digital models of the pyramids precise to a few millimeters. These models enable researchers to experiment with construction theories by virtually assessing if ramps, internal passageways, or lifting systems would properly fit within the dimensions of the pyramid. At the same time, experimental archaeology has introduced a practical method. Groups globally have attempted to replicate ancient Egyptian methods, pulling stone blocks over sand, carving limestone with copper implements, and constructing small pyramid models solely with Old Kingdom technology. These experiments demonstrate something extraordinary. Numerous techniques previously regarded as unachievable are fully achievable when appropriately scaled. The Egyptians had no use for advanced machinery. They required engineering insight, labor, and duration. All this recent research is transforming our comprehension of ancient engineering. It illustrates that the Egyptians were more than mere builders. They were pioneers. They adjusted their approaches as the pyramid ascended, addressing challenges instantly with accuracy and innovation. The findings also emphasize that the Great Pyramid is not a finished story, it's a continuous exploration. Each scan, each experiment, every new hint advances our understanding of one of humanity's greatest accomplishments. And the most exciting aspect? We're not finished yet. After millennia, the pyramids still murmur mysteries from their stony confines, awaiting the time when science will finally grasp their age-old splendor. Why the pyramids matter today? In a realm ruled by glass and steel skyscrapers, supercomputers, rockets, and AI, one might easily conclude that human genius is a contemporary creation. Yet whenever we gaze upon the pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, we are reminded of a humbling reality. Our forebears achieved remarkable accomplishments long before technology was available to assist them. These enormous structures serve as enduring evidence of human creativity, demonstrating that imagination, perseverance, and teamwork can accomplish incredible feats that resonate across millennia. The pyramids are significant today as they demonstrate what humans can achieve when they envision ambitious goals. They confront us, they motivate us, they remind us that boundaries are frequently deceptive. Consider that long before cranes, lasers, or computers, a civilization managed tens of thousands of laborers, orchestrated quarries located hundreds of kilometers away, moved massive stones across the desert, and built a remarkable structure with nearly flawless geometry. If they managed to achieve that using basic tools and clever strategies, what justification do we have now when confronting our own difficulties? In addition to inspiration, the pyramids possess great cultural and worldwide importance. They are not just monuments, they serve as a link to the ideas, values, and aspirations of a society that influenced human history. Every year, millions travel to Giza, not merely to appreciate the architecture, but to experience a connection through time, standing where ancient laborers once stood and touching stones shaped and positioned by hands that are long departed. They remind us that human narratives don't disappear, they persist. The pyramids reveal unexpected insights into architecture and sustainability. Designed for durability, they have endured thousands of years of earthquakes, severe weather, erosion, and upheaval. Currently, engineers analyze their bases, weight distribution, and positioning to comprehend why these structures remain intact. While numerous later constructions have fallen, their durability isn't magic. It's intelligent design, resource stewardship, and reverence for natural forces. Moreover, and possibly most significantly, the pyramids represent a profoundly human aspect, the strength of teamwork. No individual pharaoh, no individual architect, no individual worker constructed these massive edifices. They emerged from the collaborative work of tens of thousands of individuals united by a common goal. In an era when the world frequently appears split, the pyramids serve as a reminder of what can be achieved when people collaborate for a cause greater than individual pursuits. In examining the pyramids today, we aren't merely revealing old engineering, we're uncovering a message that has endured through time. Dream courageously, create boldly, and always recognize the potential of human hands and human minds to accomplish great things. Upon examining the theories, technologies, enigmas, and findings related to the Great Pyramid, one fact persists: we still lack complete answers. Perhaps that's what renders it so enchanting. The true marvel isn't solely the engineering, it's the vision, ambition, and brilliance of those who constructed it, spanning 4,500 years, to remind us of human potential. While we keep revealing its mysteries, the pyramid remains a timeless call to remain inquisitive, to inquire, and to aspire for greater dreams. Certain mysteries are not intended to be entirely solved, just valued more profoundly.